All right. Well, happy Monday to everyone. Hopefully you are having a great start to your week. Karen's coming in. She's going to join us here on live stream, but hopefully you are having a great start to your week. If you had a great weekend, hopefully you had a great weekend as well. We went out fishing this weekend. We tried. And
things happened.
Things happened. Yeah, the boat did not cooperate with us, which was great. But it wasn't anything major. It was just I want to scooch over a little bit, Karen, so you have a picture. So we went on the boat, but the battery, our crank start battery went bad. And so we got out there and the boat wouldn't start. I was able to swap out one of the trolling motor batteries into the starter. So we did get the boat started, but that meant the trolling motor didn't work exactly right. So holding spot and doing all that was rather difficult. But thank you for joining us tonight, Ben. Thanks for joining us tonight. Glad to see you. Hopefully you had a great weekend. And but yeah, that was our story for the weekend. So and the thing about fishing Sabine is you really do have to either have some sort of shallow water anchor system, like a power poles or a trolling motor that holds position lock.
Which ours usually does, but we borrowed the battery to start the boat. And then apparently now the trolling motor's not going to work.
Yeah.
So then that didn't work, and then you tried throwing your anchor over.
Throw my anchor over. Oh!
And it unclipped.
It unclipped. And so there goes the anchor.
So
all the way into the bottom of the lake.
Even though we were catching fish, we had to go because we were just drifting into the
abyss.
Yes.
So it was great. A lot of fun. I don't know why the anchor line came off. I still don't know why that happened, except for maybe the clip was rusty or something. I have no idea.
I believe I was actually hooked up at the time, and on something, it started pulling drag, and then I heard you scream, "Oh no!" And then I looked that way, and then I lost the fish.
It was gone. So
and then it
was just gone.
It was one of those days.
It was just not a good day.
It was not a good day.
But, and before we get into the part of the story, Senior Misterioso, glad you're here with us tonight. Hopefully you're having a great evening. And Ben says, I got to figure out what to make dinner before the missus comes home, so y'all are coming with me to kitchen. Sounds great. We just finished dinner. We had fish with, what was it, cream verde?
Salsa verde.
Salsa verde.
So it's
red fish with salsa verde.
Like white sauce. So if you haven't done this, it's excellent with fish. So first you just take a package of cream cheese, chop it up, and melt it in your pan there. You can add a little bit of milk if you'd like.
Can you give me the whole recipe right now?
Yeah.
It's like, all right, Ben, I'm gonna just hopefully got all these ingredients on hand.
1 can of salsa verde. If you have some other type of green sauce, I bet that would work too. Yeah. But you add that about 15 ounces and for 1 package of cream cheese. And then you add cilantro, and that gives it an extra kick to it. But basically making a creamy sauce with Hispanic flavors kind of
on top of the...
And then you don't have to fry your fish, but I did. I fried the fish, and then I put that on top, and it's amazing.
With some rice and salad.
I made some wild rice. And
so, great recipe. It is really tasty, but yeah, definitely anchors away there. Anchors away my boy. It was like, ploop, and I felt bottom, and then I pull up, I'm like, there's the rope. Mm-hmm. But anyway, the cool thing about if there was anything, and we're gonna put a short on it because all I did for the trip, I was gonna keep filming all of our debacle and just call it like the worst day ever on the water, but I just figured that's just not great YouTube content. But the cool thing about the trip was, and some of you know this if you've been following us on Facebook, Instagram, those sorts, but I've been making these popping corks. You can kind of see that there. I know the light is kind of, but I'm making these popcorn. It's got We Go Fishing. You can't really see the We Go Fishing in the light, but We Go Fishing is printed on there. That's the rattle that it makes, and we caught our first fish on our homemade popping cork, which I thought was really cool. Karis hooked up on a speckled trout with it, and she got that in. It was a smaller one, about 13, 14 inches, but at the same time, our very first catch on our homemade popping cork.
The good thing is the small fish didn't have any problem pulling that under the water.
Yeah. So and what we're doing is on the bottom of it. One of the things, I don't know if it's a proprietary secret. I don't know if I have proprietary secrets yet. But on the bottom of it, I'm putting reflector beads, and the idea of those would be catching the light and reflecting it off. So in any case. But first catch on that, so that was pretty happy about that.
We were both fishing.
Pretty terrible day.
She had the popping cork. I had a jig head, just kind of a free line with a jig head, and it chose the popping cork first. So that was exciting because we were both very close to each other, and it chose to hit the popping cork.
Yeah. So that was pretty exciting. So I sat back. So it was one of those special moments where you're like, oh man, we finally, I made this thing. You designed it yourself. You kind of got it out there. You twisted the wire. You did all the things yourself, and bam, you catch a fish on it. That felt really, really good. But we're gonna put that short out here this week, so that'll be out. It's just a short because again, the trip was short. So anyway, but while you are here, we are going to talk about some things regarding, and the door mysteriously came open. Cool. We are going to talk about some things, and we're going to start with this one because I thought this was interesting. Do you want to do the follow-up story first, or do you think we should do the news story?
About the cheating?
You want to do the cheating one first?
Or
the tournament drama.
They're both good.
All right. Well, we'll start with the one I was going to start with. So we'll start with the polygraph testing and tournaments. Mm-hmm. If you are a tournament fisher, even if you are CCA Texas, any of the CCA programs along the Gulf Coast, one of the things that's a requirement is that at the end, if you place in the tournament, they're going to put you on a polygraph. Mm-hmm. Now, my degree is one of my degrees is in psychology. I know polygraph testing is not reliable. You can't even use it in a court of law. It's not a reliable form of determining whether or not someone's telling the truth or not. But a lot of fishing tournaments use polygraph testing. And so here was some controversy regarding a bluefish tournament. This was held up in I believe this was in Connecticut. If Connecticut, this story comes out of, so it's not here in Texas, but a lot of people, a lot of places, a lot of tournaments, they use polygraph testing. And in this tournament, it says that they were disqualified from the bluefish tournament after failing a lie detector test. I don't know what to make of that because some people don't test well and get really nervous. Fishermen lie. We all know that. So,
but even the question, if the question made them nervous, then the machine goes blue.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons and ways.
Big breath, calm.
Guys hungover.
There has to be, if you don't know how to pass a polygraph,
it can be
you could fail it.
So let's read a little bit of this story and see what's going on. It says, when you think about polygraph examinations, crime comes to mind, but the test results are being used to fish out potential cheaters in a Connecticut-based bluefish tournament. And like I said, this is not unique to this bluefish tournament. This is used in a lot of different tournament settings. They use this. So if you're a tournament fisherman, you know that this is probably something you've been subjected to. And they say, is the test fair? Some local fishermen don't think so. And then it shows him with a 15.18 pound bluefish in August. It says his catch was a memory. He and his fishing buddies from Waterbury Deep Sea Fishing Club will never forget. I was feeling very lucky, Valise said. The club chartered the Tartan II out of Niantic to compete in the greatest bluefish tournament on Earth in 2023. The 41-year-old tournament has drawn thousands of anglers to Long Island Sound on a summer weekend. While it's been months since Valet caught that bluefish, he and the club members remember it like yesterday. And so they go into how they caught it. He said 7 people witnessed him landing the fish. It was a big fish. It was a tournament that the captain, whose name is Mike Stepsky, he's the captain of the charter boat. He said that they had been participating in this for decades. And they were excited. They thought they finally had a win. They've been doing this tournament since they were kids. It says Valley's catch put him on the Tartan 2, put him in second place on the leaderboard. But his bragging rights and dreams of $7,500 prize did not last long. The tournament rules said first, second, and third place winners are required to take and pass a polygraph test. And Valley failed the test. Bam.
But it says Benny Sheen's in the same boat.
Also, the Long Island failed the polygraph too, disqualifying him from winning $25,000 for first prize. And he caught the more than 20-pound fish aboard his
But to me,
boat.
what do you need
There's
that
a picture
for?
of the fish. These are
You
massive.
have pictures, you have witnesses, and you have weights.
Yeah.
You got the fish, you got the weight, you got the measurements, you got
Everything's
pictures.
there.
I don't think the polygraph is needed with witnesses.
Now here in Texas, we don't see blues this big. The ones that we found
That's
maybe
huge.
1 or 2 pounds are not quite that big. This is a massive blue, a 20-pound bluefish.
I can't even imagine trying to bring it in myself because we've caught 3-4 pound bluefish in the ocean, and those are tough fighters.
Yeah,
I
these
can't
are
imagine
great
if they
fish.
were 25
And they got teeth
pounds.
too,
Oh,
so
they're
huge
they're
teeth.
crazy
so
fighters.
They're great. It says from the get-go, this is what Sheen says, who was the one who was failed.
First place,
He was
yeah.
first place, but he failed the polygraph. It says from the get-go, people didn't believe because it was a very large fish. Anyone could have caught that fish. We were fishing next to 250 boats in the middle of everybody. It wasn't like we did anything different. And it says, during the greatest bluefish tournament on earth, the local tackle shops must verify the weight and condition. But then there's a lie detector. Both men said they weren't told any other reason for the disqualification other than learning they failed the exam.
Well, I'm like, if they weighed the fish at the proper weigh-ins, we don't need a polygraph at this point.
And
witnesses that say you caught it instead of somebody else.
But here's the thing that really gets me. And again, let me know what you guys think about this in the chat. Let me know what y'all think. Because here in the article, it says right here, we have it on video. The pictures. Everything he did. And he gets disqualified. I mean, in this day and maybe back in the day before there was video and everybody's on YouTube and you can pick up your phone and you have video of what's going on. Maybe back in that day, these sort of tests and things were more necessary. But we've got
because you
video.
come in and say, who caught this?
Right, we've got everything. We know exactly what happened. It's all right there. So
well, also witnesses would make a difference. 7 witnesses and the captain of the boat.
And the captain of the boat. You think that would be enough?
You'd think.
I don't know. Going back to the story, it says before the 2023 season, only one angler had ever been disqualified. And they reached out to this guy by the name of Charles Morgan for his expert opinion using polygraph to verify the results of fishing tournament. And this is what he said. This is what I agree with. Again, my background, knowing what I know about polygraph tests, knowing I have actually been subject to a polygraph test. I won't go into why here, but I've actually been subject to one. So here he says, the University of New Haven professor, I do not think it's a good way to sniff out a cheater. He says, if I were in their shoes, I'd challenge it. I wouldn't accept it. The forensic studies on the detection of deception, and he's a former CIA intelligence officer. He says the polygrapher is going to interpret any anxiety reaction as a sign of lying, so that they could generally raise the heart rate or blood pressure, the skin conductance, and make them look like a liar when in fact it could be the normal worry that someone has. And therein is why polygraph tests are not admissible in the court of law, because it's all up to the interpretation of the one giving the test. It's not objective. It's a subjective test. And therein lies a lot of the issue regarding the test. So, what do y'all think? Should we be using polygraph tests to do this? I mean, is this something that should be done? Is this something that should be going along the wayside? I mean, I'd love to hear what you guys think about this, because this is something that most tournaments use.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say no, but that could scare somebody having to take it. What? Why not? And they're nervous about losing their money. So being nervous throws it off.
Yeah, being nervous throws it off. There's
all
so
that
many
stuff.
different reasons why. And just to kind of, I'm not going to read the rest of the article. I put the link in the description below so you can read the rest of the article. But now these people are saying, the Deep Sea Fishing Club is saying they're not going to even compete in the tournament again. People are like, I'm done with this. This isn't fair. We did this. We did what was right, and we failed this thing. And he says it's just not fair, and so they're just going to stop participating in these tournaments. So I don't know, with modern video, audio, all of the things
like
that we
enough
could have.
Prove that it happened.
Yeah, it should be enough. I don't know. And then to sum it up, he says, catching the fish seems to be the easy part. Passing the polygraph is the hardest part, Vali said. So, in any case, I don't know. What y'all think? So what does Senior Mysterioso says? You make a good point. With modern recording techniques, a polygraph shouldn't be end all be all, and that I think is right. I do agree with you, because we do have the ability. Everybody can have a camera. I mean, police officers have body cam footage. There's so many other ways to determine who's telling the truth and who's not. And it's not that hard for there to be a requirement that each of the tournament boats have
and maybe
a
not,
GoPro on.
Maybe it doesn't have to be a requirement. Maybe it can be if they somehow sense there's cheating. Like if there's a report of an eyewitness saying this man cheated, maybe then follow up with a secondary thing like a polygraph. But I don't know if it should be a requirement. It could be, if we think there's cheating, we may do additional things such as polygraphs to determine that.
Yeah.
But, who's doing the polygraph? Like Ben says, maybe it's a conspiracy. Maybe somebody else knocked him out to get the reward. Later in the article, it does say the captain ended up getting a reward.
Yeah.
So they're like,
Maybe.
So does somebody know somebody?
Maybe somebody knew something.
You have to follow the money, right? That's what Ben
it
says.
wouldn't be the first time.
Follow the
money.
money.
Follow the money. Yeah. Who's getting the money, and follow the money. Yeah.
Now we're thinking like crime. What's the motive?
Yeah. And that's part of it too. Is what a motive. I mean, I guess you. But even like the CCA tournament, you could catch the tagged redfish, and you could fail the polygraph, and you don't get the prize. And that is something that does. I mean, I don't know if it's ever happened in the history of CCA. I did a little bit of searching, and I wasn't coming up with much on that. But like I said, a lot of major tournaments use this same approach. So it's one of those things. Like I think there's probably a better way than.
But now we need to get to our story about the actual cheater, which may have passed his polygraph but didn't pass the next.
Yes. So this story, if you remember from our last podcast, last live show.
And here I was defending the guy in the last podcast.
Yeah, I know.
This poor guy got his reward taken away without being told even why. But now we have
now we've got some evidence. Ben says, cut the fish open for GPS trackers and magnets. yeah, we're going to get to that, because what Karen was just saying here with this next story. If you remember, and I'll bring up the story in a minute. If you remember, there was a fisherman in Kansas who caught what should have been on paper,
a record-breaking
from every
crappie.
indication, a record-breaking crappie or crappie, depending on how you pronounce it, depending on where you're from, and they took back the award. They said it's not the big fish.
Yeah, we thought it's because he put it in the freezer.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out why would this have not qualified. What did he do wrong? Everybody was there when he caught it. Same type of thing. And we have an update to that story, which you might find interesting here. So let me go ahead and bring that story up. It says, investigation reveals Kansas record crappie was stuffed with ball bearings.
Oh, scroll up, show them the picture, babe. They can't see it.
It says, I mean, the worst thing about this is this guy goes on a media tour to tell everybody, I'm not a crook. I mean, he's doing the whole, the whole Nixon, I'm not a crook kind of thing. And he totally, that is just, it's so funny.
Show them the picture.
The Kansas Department of Wildlife Parks have released new information about the record-breaking crappie that was seized and stricken from the record book. And you can see they took an x-ray of the fish, If you're listening to this, you're not watching it. But if you are, you could see two large metal objects in the stomach of the fish. So the X-ray image shows the two ball bearings that were inside the gut. So there you go. There's your
now
reason.
Now they take X-rays now.
There.
He probably didn't even know they took.
Yeah.
Because apparently he went on all the media shows saying, they cheated me out of my winnings.
Well,
but
if you remember back, what was it, last year? That walleye tournament?
I know.
And they had stuffed them with all kinds of stuff too. So, I mean,
big lead weights.
This
one I think
on.
because he only put a tiny bit of weight because he just needed 2 ounces more.
Needed just a little bit.
2 ounces to
Ben
win
says
the record.
in Texas they're all perch. yeah, it doesn't matter what they are. It's like, yeah, that's a perch. Yeah. We hear that too.
But I think it is interesting that they X-rayed it. I guess maybe because of the recent cheatings that have gone on. They've been stuffing fish with more than just metal.
But even this, you don't need a polygraph. Here's the evidence. It's right there. You don't need a polygraph to determine whether or not this guy's telling the truth or not. It's right here, literally black and white. I mean, it's literally right there.
Do you remember though that one of the fish that they stuffed, they didn't actually stuff with metal. They stuffed it with extra fish fillets.
Well, that was the walleye. They stuffed it with
fish fillets.
Yeah,
like
that was the walleye one. Yeah.
So that wouldn't have shown up on an X-ray, would it?
Yeah.
Extra fish fillets, or maybe it would.
Well, I would imagine so. I don't know, but
I mean,
let's see. It's what's Ben said. Make the perch. Maybe the perch ate the ball. Yes, maybe so. Maybe the perch. Maybe you know what? Let's go conspiracy. Maybe it was gut hooked, and maybe he was using split shots, and maybe they came off in the gut.
I don't know. That would be pretty hard.
Or maybe it had been previously hooked, and it had swallowed the hook, and those weights were just in there.
Maybe, but
I mean, anything's possible.
I guess.
I mean, unless the crappie takes, as Ben says, unless the crappie takes a polygraph, we'll never know.
Even if they were in there before, you can see why the guy's other record without the extra weight probably should win.
So this is what the article says. Earlier this month, an angler in Kansas railed against law enforcement officials for seizing his 2023 state record crappie, claiming that he caught the fish legally and honestly. And he may have. He may have caught it legally and honestly. It says, now the details of the Kansas Department of Wildlife Parks and investigation obtained by Outdoor Life on Friday revealed the angler Bobby Parkhurst appeared to have tried to cheat his way into the record book. The state record saga began on March 5th, 2023, when Parkhurst claimed a slab white crappie from a small public reservoir near Manhattan. A statement from KDWP details how Parkhurst first weighed his fish at one bait shop. Well, it fell short of the state record. Parkhurst then apparently stuffed the fish with ball bearings before visiting another certified scale to obtain a heavier weight of 4.07 pounds than initially qualified it as a state record. Investigators proved this by X-raying the crappie after seizing it from Parkhurst's home in 2020.
You remember the story when it came out? They said an anonymous tip. That was from, I bet when he saw that guy win, the guy from the first store called and said, wait a minute. He went to my bait shop first. That's why. And then they seized the fish to X-ray it, I bet.
Yep.
I see. So he did not swallow. We know for sure he didn't swallow it. Because we're talking about two different weights.
Yes.
And maybe they said the paperwork too. So maybe he altered the paperwork afterward.
Probably.
And so that's why all this is happening. Why would he do that?
Didn't want to get in the record books.
Yeah, but like you've already waded in, you already fell short. Oh man, too bad. I mean, why ruin your reputation?
I don't know, but he did. And now he looks even worse because not only...
Then he tried to hide
it. reminds me of a person... It reminds me like when we were teaching and the kid says, I did my book report. I turned it into you. And you're just like, no, you didn't turn in your book report to me. Yes, I did. I put it right on your desk. And you're just like, I don't have it. And they're trying to get you so hard to believe that they... You know, and they start making up more and more, and that's what this guy did. I mean, he was like, yeah, that's what he did. It says, when the staff used a handheld metal detector to scan the fish, the device detected the presence of metal.
Oh,
so they're ready for this, you know, and maybe we should get some of these guys actually doing some investigation work outside.
Maybe if he had watched our channel, he would have known not to cheat.
Yeah, don't do that. Maybe so, yeah. It says wardens then took the fish to Topeka Zoo for an X-ray examination where it revealed the 2 steel ball bearings were inside the crappie. So there you go. It says, great, now I have to use an AI site to create a picture of a person. Yes, we're gonna have to have fish taking polygraphs. Yeah. That's gonna be awesome.
Or, you know, they do have those metal detectors on the fish. I didn't know they were doing that, but I guess that's what warranted the X-ray in the first place. Yeah. So hey, Grant, thanks for joining us. No worries about being late, and thanks for hitting that. Hit the thumbs up button if you haven't done so already. That does help us out very much. I haven't done that.
So make sure that you do hit that thumbs up button. That does help us as well. But what we're talking about, Grant, since you're just joining us, we're talking about a story follow-up about the record crappie in Kansas that was rescinded, and we just found the story as to why that record was taken away. Turns out that there were ball bearings inside the gut of the fish.
And the funny thing is, they weren't going to do a follow-up story until he ranted and raved on the news about poor me. And so now they're like, oh yeah, you're going to throw us under the bus? Well, here you go. Let's ruin your reputation.
That's what they did. And so going back to the story, it says, Margie confirms that the wildlife officers began investigating on April 9th. Just 5 days after the agency certified Parkhurst's white crappie as a new state record. So they were going with it for a little while. Investigators were acting on tip from the bait shop owner.
I called it.
You called
it. I knew. He's like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I saw that.
I saw that. I knew it. I saw that guy. He came in here and it didn't weigh that much. And
that's crazy. He goes into one bait shop, has it weighed, and he's like, oh man, not enough. So I'm going to add extra weight and go to another one. If he really wanted to cheat, why didn't he just weigh it himself first?
Yeah. It says, I remember the day this is the bait shop owner. This is awesome.
This is the dumbest cheater ever.
It is. Well, you know, if you're going to, I don't know. This is a dumb thing to cheat about. I mean, anyway. I remember that day like it was yesterday, says the bait shop owner who spoke with Outdoor Life on condition of anonymity. If it was a state record, I would have taken a picture of it. Typically when that happens, I have to fill out paperwork, measure the fish, check the weight, and I actually have to give the angler the serial number of my scale. That was not done on this fish. None of these things were done because the crappie weighed just 3.73 pounds.
Ooh, that's way under.
Yeah.
Man, he must have put quite a few ball bearings in there.
Yeah.
What would it take to get it up to past 4?
You're talking about half. I mean, almost half pound.
I mean, that's quite a.
I mean, you're talking about.
That's quite a bit of metal.
Yeah, it's big. So that's the story. That's the saga here. And again, the story goes on. You can check out the link in the description if you want to read the full story about what it and all the things. But I did think this is funny too, and I'll read this to you. Ben's reporting on his dinner. He said, "Well, it took barbacoa, tortillas, and cheese out, so it's quesadillas for dinner." That sounds good. Sounds tasty. Have we had barbacoa? I don't think
Not recently.
Not recently.
Yeah.
We went, maybe in Laredo. Yeah, but not around here. I don't think they even have it around here. Anyway, Parkhurst claimed in a Facebook post they came into his house unlawfully and that the seizure of his fish amounted to slander. Methinks the man doth protest too much.
Yes, I think so. Yes. He demanded the officials return his fish. Give me back my fish. So, and there's a screenshot there of his Facebook posts and things like that. Oh yeah, so, did you look?
Here's the other thing.
It says, I caught that fish. Look at his posts. He says, I caught that fish legally and honestly.
The officers were bullies and don't need a game. They're dishonest. Don't went through all the. Anyway, here's the funny thing too. Also in this, and again, do what you want with this information. I'm just reading the article, not causing disparity on the man. Public court records show that Parkhurst has been implicated in several criminal cases and charged with at least 5 felonies in Kansas since 2019. Most recently, one felony count of identity theft in October and was sentenced to 18 months to probation on February 8th.
So great fella here.
Great, yeah. His character may have a little bit of questionable things there.
I'm sure he never lies.
But the local state's attorney's office did say they are not going to prosecute him in this case.
Oh, well, he got off
there. He got off, so make that what you will, but I thought you might find that interesting as an update to our previous story regarding why the record was rescinded. So if you're going to cheat, do it with something that doesn't show up in x-rays.
How about just don't?
I don't know. Yeah.
What was he even going to get with the state record? You get money?
No, I don't think so. Not here.
Then what?
I don't know. People do weird things. I mean, we have to just understand people are weird and they do weird things. That's just the reality. Ben says the jig was up when he collected his perch with salvage magnet. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, apparently he stole other people's identity and other things, so this isn't his first.
Not his first rodeo.
Yeah, he didn't have a conscience anymore.
Yeah,
so.
no. All right, well, on that note, let's get to unsolicited advice. If it'll work. All right, and unsolicited advice this time. If you are familiar with what we do here, we go on Reddit and we find questions that Redditors have, and we try to do our best to give them some helpful tips, some helpful hints to help them with this. And this one comes from this, and I'm going to expand this question a little bit because I think we can kind of be a little bit of help to this guy a little bit here. It says, what's the best way to remove a treble hook from a catfish? He says, I'm not fishing for catfish with treble hook lures. I try to look as unappealing to them as possible. So I guess I don't know how you make it look unappealing to catfish, because catfish are just about everything.
Well, with the treble hooks, you can put all that yucky stuff and kind of.
But he says he's not fishing for them, and he's trying to make it look as unappealing as possible. But sometimes those rascals still yoink it, and those stupid goobers make it a pain, and I feel bad.
So what is he trying to catch?
Just regular fish, but he's using a treble hook, I suppose. But he doesn't want to catch catfish.
He wants something else?
Right. So what I thought maybe we could help him out with is talking a little bit about how do you handle fish correctly, whether it's a treble hook, whether it's a regular hook. There's a couple of different techniques, a couple of different things to have there tools-wise. If you are new to angling, if you are new to handling fish, you do want to make sure you handle them properly. Catfish do have barbs as well, a lot of them, so you do want to be careful because you can get those. But what some of the things that I have learned to always have with me, and I have this whenever I'm on the boat, whether I'm back, it doesn't matter. There's a good pair of pliers.
Yeah.
That is going to be your key. You see,
that's what I would do.
Yeah, these are nicer ones. They've got a cutter on the side. They've got a split ring there. These are very inexpensive. These are actually made by Cast King. I'm not promoting them. I don't get paid by Cast King, but and they come with a little sheath and everything. But a good pair of pliers is going to be very handy, especially when you're dealing with treble hooks. You do not. I've seen people get them in their legs trying to get them. Treble hooks are dangerous. I don't use treble hooks all that often, but even if I'm using regular hooks a lot, having a good pair of pliers really goes a long way. You can also get long nose, but not. These are just cheap, what, $2 pliers that you pick up at the at Harbor Freight. or something.
And you might have to replace them if you're saltwater fishing. Yeah. They will get rusty.
But they still got the ability to cut string, and they actually sell ones that are much longer, so you can actually get deeper. So long nose pliers, those are good as well.
But you need something to grip the treble hook.
Treble hook from Catfish Dynamite. Yes.
You need something to grab the treble hook with and something to hold the catfish with.
Yeah.
If
A lot of
it's
times I use
saltwater
fish
fish.
strips, and then I'll use the pliers.
Yeah. Or gloves
or
if you
gloves,
want
something like that.
catfish, if they have
Yeah,
a bar.
and Senior Mysterio. So yeah, you're right. Cast King, they're tools. I've used them. Some people frown on them. I don't. I think they're good. I think these are saltwater for saltwater, and
We've used
they're good.
their fishing line before,
I've
their
used their fishing line,
sunglasses, and
yeah,
their-
Cast King, pretty decent company. And again, I'm not paid or sponsored. I don't even have an Amazon affiliate link, so don't even worry about that. But Cast King does do a pretty good job with their stuff, and it is pretty affordable. Grant says use chicken liver and treble hooks. Yeah, that's.
I mean, if you're catching catfish, yeah, that's the easy way, you know. But if you don't want catfish,
if you don't want catfish, well,
then-
here's the other thing that I use, and I've gotten very used to using this. And matter of fact, I don't even bring catfish into my boat anymore. If we catch one, I'll leave it off the side, and I'll use it this way. And it's this guy right here. I'm gonna put it. You can hear. This is a de-hooker, and what you do is you attach the hook to this hook, and then you're gonna pull it down so it kind of goes inside, which allows the hook to be recessed into these grooves, and then you can just simply pop it.
But usually that's for regular hooks.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, but you can do this with treble hooks too. I mean, you can do this with any kind of hook. This will work for it. But this is a very easy thing to use. Some people use the hook flip method. I'm always scared to use the hook flip method because I'm afraid one of the spines are going to go like right into my throat.
Well, that's
or
just
something.
we have saltwater catfish and they are.
Yeah, I don't want one of those spines to go like what?
Yeah.
I could just see it happen. I'm flipping it up and it's just and you're just like, oh my gosh. But to help this person out and say how do you deal with hooks? A good pair of pliers, long nose pliers, a de-hooker like this. Those are some very good key tools. Everyone should have them. It doesn't matter where you're fishing. You're going to come into a contact where you're going to need something like that. So I would definitely say. But what do you all think? What tool do you guys use? One's been say trebles are bad for gill and gut hooks. Yeah, that's the thing is if you get that, there have been times, and I'm not proud of this, where I can't get the hook out without seriously damaging the fish. And since hooks are made to rust out in salt water, there have been times where I've just cut the line. I've said there's no way I'm gonna be able to get this thing out. It's too far down in there, and I'll cut the line. Just say good luck. Hope you live another day, and hopefully the fish is able to do okay with that. So, but yeah, it's one of those things that you do your best with, and we don't want to hurt the fish. We want to be conscious, but we want to have the right tools and having a good pair of pliers, even especially long. I've seen one guy use forceps, a high grade pair of forceps to get in there and lock down the hook as well. That's one thing I have seen some people use as well. But a good pair of pliers is going to go a long way, and you can get them. Grant, you're right. You can get them multi-purpose tool where it has a whole bunch of different things. It has a knife and screwdrivers and all those sort of things. But have that and have those things available and ready when you go out there. Because you never know what you're going to hook into. You never know how. And so having these tools. And if you've not picked up one of these are relatively inexpensive and they work extremely well. To get in there deep and be able to pop that out. So Grant says he has a buddy that uses forceps. Yeah, and they work too. Forceps, they work well, and so yeah, these are just some tools that I would say definitely have on hand to help you get out. And part of the reason why, and it may sound silly, unless you've actually had this happen. I want to keep my hands as far away as I can from their barbs. I've been stabbed twice, and that's twice too many. I got stabbed in the middle. Actually, I still got a divot there where I got stabbed in my thumb. I lost feeling in my arm. That was not fun. I got stabbed in my finger, and again, I lost feeling in my arm. So I have decided that I am not intending to ever handle them again, and so that's why this bad boy is always with me.
Well, you lost the chat. They're talking about eating turtles now.
Eating turtles? How do we get on eating turtles? Seen one catfish a day for 6 hours, delivering trebles. Oh, God, it's a turtle. Okay.
I've caught turtles before. It's hard to get those hooks out because they get stuck in the shell and all that.
Yeah.
And I've had a hard time with it.
I don't know that I've ever. I mean, I do remember getting your line off of turtles.
Yeah.
I don't know that I've ever hooked a turtle.
No, I've hooked several turtles. Whoa, but you did hook a seagull.
Well,
that was horrible.
Let's not talk about that.
You were casting and you hooked the tail of a seagull. Oh, that was horrible.
Well, he flew into it. That's on him. Ben says, turtle and liver soup, yum. Yeah, don't do that with sea turtles, please.
Yeah, you'll get in trouble
you will
with that.
definitely get in trouble for eating sea turtles.
Oh,
I don't know what kind of turtles you're talking about
At
around
least at
here.
Searoom State Park, they're all about save the turtles.
Yeah, so around here, I know they eat turtles. I don't know what kind of turtles they eat.
No, they save the turtles. If they're sea turtles,
No, I'm talking about sea. They eat some type of turtle. Now, alligator turtles either. You can't eat the alligator snapping turtles either. So I don't know what kind of turtles you're allowed to eat. I don't know anything about turtles.
I don't know.
So I'm going to leave that out of this conversation because I don't know what you do with eating turtles.
What animals even eat turtles? Alligators? I don't know.
Whatever ones. And it says for panfish,
Sharks.
mostly, mainly, yeah. It says the green turtles at Packery put up a great fight. I'm like, yeah.
That's when I was catching Packery, yes. That's when I would catch them, is the Packery. It's like they were trying to chase the shrimp, and so they would get caught all the
jetties,
time.
if you fish the Port A jetties, the Packery jetties.
You're going to be catching some turtles.
Really, any of the jetties I've been to, there are turtles everywhere.
Oh, they get
And
on
you do
my
have to be
nerves because
careful.
I'm like, stop chasing my shrimp.
Yeah, you'd have to be careful with them because they will get after you. But anyway, hopefully you guys have had a great start to your week. I know this was kind of different doing it on a Monday. I'm trying to work out. Personal note, I am helping with coaching my son's baseball team. And so working out practice schedules and game times and all that. So I'm still looking at where the live stream is going to land. Mondays seems to have more flexibility than Tuesdays and the rest of the days. And I know that there's another the Stanley Orchard and Grant and John, they do theirs on Tuesday. So I didn't want to go on Tuesday, and plus we have games on Tuesday coming up here. So it might land on Monday for the time being. So kind of watch out for that. But I'll kind of do my best to post it out there and let you know where it'll land. We'll try and keep it at 7, regardless of where it lands, because I think that's a good time for us. Yeah? Well, hopefully you have great plans for coming up weekend. I know that here the weather is still not looking all that great this week. Got a lot of heavy winds coming in. But in any case, hopefully you are making plans for this coming weekend. I know it's a little further away, but it gives us something to look forward to in our week. Hopefully you had a great weekend this last week.
And spring is coming.
Daylight savings time is coming, so there'll be more daylight hours. And hopefully we can get the Texas government to get rid of daylight savings time, because that would be awesome.
That would be awesome.
That would be awesome. So we would petition the government. So in any case, if you have not yet hit the thumbs up button, make sure you do that. Subscribe to the channel if you've not done that as well. We do appreciate all of your support. Thank you so much for joining us on this live stream. And I think that's it.
And may the fish be with you.
Y'all have a good night.